Something is a change in Vegas. You can feel it. Sebetans are in the building, Serukis are in the building, and Yeda coaching staff too. But it is not just about WHO's physical leader. It is about how the rest showing up. The vibe is different, the energy is sharp. And there is a one name that doesn't ball a bit right now, Pete Carroll. 73 years old and talking like he's just getting started. Seems stood at the podium and gave a press conference that hit way harder than people expected. It didn't come in with bike. Coach Pea corta platitudes, came in, ready to let to inspire and to win. Now let us back it up for a second. The original plan was to talk about this the moment Pete finished talking. That was the idea. But if you follow this thing closely, you already know how chaotic things can get. Just as the press steroids went into full rust shuffle mode, 9 different moves one after another. That took over the headlines and understandably. So, but we're not skipping this. PTS Wets deserve their own spotlight and I'm going to break them down for you here the way they hit me the way they probably hit by the heart, right the fan. Listening in, the first thing that jumped out was the clarity in his voice. This was the guy unsure of what team is walking into. Pete Carroll knows exactly where he is and more importantly where he wants to take this squad. When asked about Christian Wilkins, there was no sugarcoating. Straight up admitted they don't know exactly when Wilkins will be back and that is a little unsettling for fans especially considering how crucial Wilkins is to this defense. But then again man has been seen dancing on the training, rooming crocs, not just walking, not limping, dancing. That is not nothing. That tells Mel and probably tells Carroll too that Wilkins is mentally in the right space. You don't move like that unless you feel pretty good and that body language speaks louder than 100 medical reports. Here is a sketch though. If Wilkins doesn't come of the PUP list, be late. August 26 4 p.m. Isn't to be exact is not just missing practice. Es missing the first 4 games of the regular season. And if es not back by week 5, it is a rep for the entire year. That is a reality. So yeah, there is optimism in his movement, but there is also a deadline approaching fast. Every day counts from here on out. But Carroll didn't stop there. He talked about Malcolm Kuntz like it was a secret weapon finally unlocked. Full go back from injury, ready to chase quarterbacks again. Remember this is a guy, WHO tore his ACL and still managed to flash in the back half of last season. Final 8 maybe 9 games, use OIT, it was disrupted by the line bringing energy that spread through the rest of the defense. And Carroll, who knows a thing or two about defensive schemes, seemed fired up about him. If this Raiders team wants to punch above its weight this year, they need Kuntz, along with guys like Tyree Wilson to fully step into their potential. That front 7 has to work over time to protect a secondary that while athletic, still feels right in some places. No one thing that can back me, no one asked about Charles Snowden's illegal situation. There is a court case that they tried to do from December of last year and yeah. It is of field but it is a part of the story. You want to know where your guys stand legally and legally. But that didn't come up. Maybe the reporters weren't aware. Maybe it got lost in the shuffle. Still it felt like a missed opportunity to get a clear picture. WHO is going to be available and when. But let us talk about the big mess HK high expectations. That is what Pete Carroll brought to the podium. As I did out loud, this team should win the will the hit games. 10 wins minimum. Coming from anyone else maybe that sounds like a reach. But from Pete and I, with 20 years of winning seasons behind him, that is not arrogance. That is standard procedure. He's done it before and he sees no reason why it can't happen again here. That is the kind of mentality Raider Nation has been begging for. Not excuses, not cautious. Optimism, real belief, and that belief it starts with culture. Pete talked about the importance of being a good teammate and honestly that hit home for me. You got Max Crosby showing up at the facility at 6 in the morning. Ese one upside spite guys. On the rest and the SS setting the tone. When your stars are the festing and the stout that stuff is contagious. It is infectious. Other guys see that and they raise their own standard. And Pete wants more of it. Brad Bowes, Geno Smith, Jackson Powers, Johnson, these are names we're going to highlight over the next few months and it sounds like Carroll is looking for leadership from every corner upside. Prested made it clear this team is in the middle of a 2-3-year window. That is how he framed it. Not some endless rebuild, not an abstract project, a defined window. And to make that window count, guys have to buy in all the way. No more halfway commitment. No more start sitting out of practice just because they can. Pete made it crystal clear that he expects everyone from rookies to veterans to show up and if you make $50 million a year or the vet minimum, the expectations don't change. Camp is going to be hard. And that is exactly how it should be. Too often these days players coast through camp trying to save themselves for the season. But the truth is, when you skip the hard reps in August, you're more likely to get hurt in September. Football shape isn't the same as gym shape. Terrell knows that, and there's bringing no excuses attitude into camp. He talked about how hard work builds trust between coaches, between players, and with the fans. And trust that is what the Raiders have been missing for years. This isn't about rare speeches or cliches. This is about getting guys to buy in so completely that they believe in the system, even when it is tough, even when it hurts, even when the scoreboard is the kind. Another thing Carroll emphasized was the importance of playing young guys, but not just throwing them out there for the sake of it. No, he wants to play young players he believes in once. WHOVNDT. Derian Porte, X Stokes, Hakorian Bennett. Those are names we hearing more and more, and it is not just smoke. These guys are flashing. Athleticism in the secondary pit said it might be the most athletic group he ever coached. And then he kind of smirked and joked that the guys up north, in Seattle probably won't like hearing that. But again he meant it. Se measurable CRAS, course the size and length, it is older. Now it is about putting it together on the field. A single dot guys like Cameron Richards and Isaiah Polamao, Jeremy Chin, all guys with insane physical upside. Sure, Polamao struggled last season, but Carroll still sees a ceiling. When a coach like Pete takes the time to call out your potential publicly, that is not just talk, that is a message to the locker room. Is watching, is grading, and is holding people accountable. He also talked about wanting to be closer to the fan base, which might sound like a minor thing, but it is not. This franchise has felt disconnected for a while now. The previous regime kept everything locked up, the Patriot way right, but Carroll wants open practices. He wants to build trust with the people who live and die with this team every Sunday. That kind of transparency matters. It creates bullying not just inside the locker room, but in the stands, in the community across the country. Raider Nation isn't just a fan base, it is an identity. And Pete Carroll seems to get that. And then came the statement that really stuck with me. He said we're going to win a bunch of games, not. We hope to, not if everything breaks our way, just we're going to win. The tested the energy, the tested the tone, the tested the standard. Pete Carroll didn't come to Vegas to wind down his career, he came to build something real, something lasting, and hearing him say it with that confidence, it gave me chills. Because for the first time in a long time, it doesn't feel like the Raiders are guessing. It feels like they building with a purpose, with a plan. And part of that plan includes guys like Derian Porter. Pete talked about him specifically, saying how impressed he is with the way Porter absorbs information like a sponge. A smart, curious, hardworking player. WHOS constantly asking questions, trying to improve. And when you combine that mentality with the kind of athletic profile Porter brings, 6 foot to 195 pounds elite movement, you start to see why Carroll is so high on him. It is a sure, but to maybe 3 years down the road, we might be looking back at this same as the moment Derian Porter started turning heads around the league. They keep going with more of Carroll's takeaways and what they mean for this team, but if there is one thing I want you to take from this so far, it is this: Pete Carroll isn't here for a farewell tour. He is here to win. And from everything I've seen, everything I've had, and everything, this team is starting to show that belief is starting to spread. Training camp is just the beginning, but man, what a beginning it has been. Ticking up. Right where we left off, the excitement beyond the Raiders isn't just about flashy signings or big draft picks. It is about a fundamental shift in attitude, one that starts at the top and trickles down through every level of the organization. Pete Carroll isn't just preaching change, es living it. Every day you can see it in how the players interact, how the coaches push the team, and even in the smallest moments, like the way practice runs flow, how mistakes are handled, or how quickly guys rally after a tough play. One thing Pete keeps hammering on is accountability. That what gets thrown on the Latin football circles, but for him it is more than a buzzword. It is the lifeblood of a winning team. You don't get to point fingers or make excuses when the scoreboard shows 0 in your column. Each player has to underroll their preparation and their execution. This kind of culture can be brutal. It doesn't retaliate less in a sort of effort, but it is exactly what a team needs if it is going to break through and win consistently. And judging by the way Pete describes the locker room, the guys are responding. Take Max Crosby for example. The guy is the heart and soul of this defense, and they is embracing the leader role fully. There is a story Pete shared about Max showing up for extra sessions, getting reps beyond what is scheduled, and pushing the younger players to elevate their game. It is not just about being the best pass rusher on the field, it is about setting the tone for everyone else. That kind of leadership is contagious and it spreads faster than any coach can teach it. But leadership alone is the win games. Pete knows this better than most. The TCY is so focused on development, especially with the younger players. is not interested in throwing them into the fire just for the sake of it. Instead is creating a system that allows them to grow at their own pace while still holding them to high standards. The goal is to build depth to have days ready when their number is called and to keep a competitive environment in every position group. When rookies and veterans push each other every day, the whole team benefits. You can see this approach in how it talks about a defensive backs. Names like Darian Porter and Jacorian Bennett come up a lot, and it is clear Pete believes this. Guys can be cornerstone players down the line. Porter, with his length, speed and instincts, reminds Pete of a map that great CS coached before. Bennett too brings a physicality and tenacity that fits perfectly into the kind of defense Pete wants to run, aggressive, smart and relentless. And it is not just hype. The film backs it up. These guys are making plays in practice challenging. The veterans and showing they're ready to step up when the lights come on. Offense is getting some attention as well. Even though Pete is a defensive guy through and through, is not ignoring the unit that ultimately puts points on the board. Is spoken about Geno Smith, not as a finished product, but as a guy. WHOS bought into the team concept and works every day to get better. Smith is a leadership, has been a stabilizing force, especially for the young receivers and defensive line. That chemistry is critical because you can have talent all over the field, but if the quarterback and his targets don't think it is a recipe for inconsistency. The wide receiver group well young. As promised, Brad Bowes is a name you be hearing a lot more in the coming months. Pete highlighted his ability to make tough catches and his work ethic to qualities that tend to translate well in the NFL. There is also talk about the tight ends and running backs. Guys WHO don't always get the headlines but play huge roles in the system Pete is designing. It is about balance, mixing power runs with weak passes and creating mismatches that keep defenses guessing. Special teams often overlook defense have also been part of the conversation. Pete believes that games can be won and lost on special teams, and that Raiders have put resources into upgrading that phase of the game. Frankie cabbage to punt returns every unit is under the microscope. Attention to detail here might not be as flashy, but it is the kind of groundwork that builds winning teams. Another element Gerald stress was mental toughness. The NFL season is a grind. Injuries happen, bad calls happen, tough losses happen, but the teams that rise above are the ones that keep pushing, keep believing and keep coming back stronger. That mindset is part of what Pete brings to the Raiders. As a coach through highs and lows, knows how to reset the locker room after tough losses and how to keep a team hungry throughout a long season. If the Raiders want to win those 10 games, Pete mentioned mental toughness can't be an afterthought, it has to be a foundation. The Raiders have dealt with a lot in recent years. Coaching changes, rusted and even stadium moves. All of that creates noise and distraction. But Pete Carroll's message is clear to it all. How to focus on what you can control. Show up every day, do your job, compete like it is the best game you ever play. That kind of focus has to spread from the coaching staff through the players and into the fence. Because ultimately football is a team sport on and off the field. And speaking of the fence, Pete is committed to rebuilding that connection. As talked about holding open practices and creating more opportunities for fans to see the team up close. It might seem small compared to what happens on game day, but those moments matter. When fans feel like part of the journey, the energy in the stadium changes. That is something the Raiders haven't seen much of in recent years. If Carroll can bring that back, it could make a huge difference in home field advantage. In terms of challenges, the Raiders still have plenty. The offensive line needs to gel. Injuries could strike anywhere, and the AFC West is no joke with teams like Kansas City and Denver loaded with talent. But Pete Carroll isn't blind to those obstacles. Instead embraces them. Challenges are opportunities to prove yourself, to show resilience, to earn respect. And judging by how we are talking about the team, this group isn't just ready to compete, they want to dominate. When you listen to Pete, it is clear he is not just focused on this year. He is building a program, a culture, a legacy. The window he mentioned isn't just about immediate wins, it is about laying a foundation for sustained success. That means developing young players, instilling a tough mindset, and holding everyone accountable. That is how dynasties are built. That is how legends are made. One more thing that stands out is Carroll's humility. Despite his recent success, he talks about the Raiders like he is still learning, still adapting, still excited to prove himself in a new environment. That kind of humility is rare for someone at his level. It shows he respects the process, values the players, and understands that no coach wins alone. The best leaders are the ones who lift others up, and Carroll seems to be doing exactly that. So what does this all mean for Raider Nation? It means hope. Real hope. The kind of hope that isn't based on empty promises or wishful thinking, but on a clear plan, a proven lead and a group of players committed to grinding it out. It means a season full of excitement, drama and yes wins. tenor more like PT. Said the next few weeks will be crucial. Training camp will se contendes from se pretendes. Se guys WHO quantity will stand out and se once WHO don't will fade away. But if you pay attention, you ages y attend the TC defend. More focused, hungry, and ready to fight for every inch. The TC Raides of 2025. The TCPT Kerales Raides. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts and us in the comments below in what could be one of the most jaw-dropping moves of the NFL of season with special and the league are pointing to a potentially seismic shift in Las Vegas. Multiple sources close to the situation suggest that the Raiders may have closed the deal to bring in another than superstar linebacker J. Watt, while there has been no official confirmation from the team or what is kept the basis growing loud by the owl and inside the say this could mark a new chapter for the silver and black defense. The addition after J. Watt should it materialize would instantly elevate the Raiders defensive unit to elite status. What a perennial Pro Bowler and former defensive player of the year is widely regarded as one of the most disruptive pass rushers in the league. Pairing him with Max Crosby would give Las Vegas perhaps the most fearsome match duo in all of football, a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks and offensive coordinators alike. Analysts speculate that the move, if true, could be part of a broader strategy by the Raiders to shift the identity of the team. Long seen as a franchise struggling to regain its former glory, Las Vegas could be signaling a bold new ability on the dominant defense. Rather than say Octane offense day, B. Lindon in recent years, some league observers even go so far as to call this potential acquisition franchise altering. Of course, many questions remain. How did the Raiders pull this off? What does it mean for the cap space? And perhaps most importantly, Citril, until the ink dries and official jerseys are printed, this remains firmly in the realm of speculation. Still, the sheer possibility of J. Watt done in silver and black has already sent shockwaves through the AFC Westland fans are holding their breath for what could be a game-changing announcement. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.